Guys, this is the last one, our last acrobatic movement of this series. Now, this is not the last acrobatic movement of all that we will show you, but for this particular series of movements, we're really excited to finish off with the Raize. The Raize is a really, really cool move. It's not easy to do, but disclaimer, please do not start with this movement and do not start with these progressions. What we're going to teach you here on how to develop it are tips and tricks that we've learned and that we've applied to ourselves as well that helps us make our movement, our Raize, better. But you need a lot of motor control. You need a lot of shoulder mobility, inflection, and extension that we're not going to target through this video. You also need a lot of thoracic mobility. You need a lot of stability at the ankles. Guys, a lot of things can go wrong with this movement. There's a lot of potential of shoulder injury, back injury, ankle injuries as well. So please be careful. Don't just jump into these progressions and thinking you're going to do it. You must go through. This is the last one, and there's a reason why it's the last one. There's a reason that why we started off with a simple cartwheel, and now we're making our way here. So make sure that you own the previous movements, especially the Auge French, because all of the progressions in the Auge French, working on the squatting, focusing on the knees, the single leg stuff, the bridging is going to be paramount to be able to feel comfortable and to avoid any injury through this movement. All right, that being said, let's do this. Let's fall into this. So, Chigri, as always, my partner in crime here, he's going to start off. We're going to warm up with the meia lua de compasso. The meia lua de compasso, here, if you're not a capoeirista, if you're just trying these acrobatics on your own and you are not necessarily interested in the capoeira universe, if you will, it might be a little bit complex. This is one of our staple kicks that we do from the ground. So I'm not going to go into the details of that, but just pay close attention, because essentially the beginning of this acrobatic movements stems from the beginning of this kick. So to warm up with this kick is going to be very, very helpful. So I'll get Chiri just to step a little bit further here. And without any ginga, I'm going to ask you to attack in this direction here, please. So hips are loaded, hands are on the ground, extremely important. And he brings the leg, we're going to try to go hip or a little bit higher than our hip. We're going to switch sides. We're going to do it a few times both sides. You could start in a split position or base position like this, whatever you feel like. Load the hips forward, hands on the ground, and you're bringing that leg high, finishing back into your ginga or your split stance position here. Let's try that again. Bring the leg, the attacking leg, nice and high, and then finishing back. Other side, and finishing back. So that's a nice little progression of how we're going to start. Extremely, extremely important to have a strong base with your feet, especially that front foot that you're going to be loading. You're going to be preparing to put a lot of weight here. The rest of the weight is going to be on your hands, so there's no fingers touching the ground. It has to be the palm of your hand, and it has to be the full weight of your body, because the Raize, we are going to be throwing your whole body above that. So you need to load your forearms, your elbows, your shoulders as we're going to go into that thoracic extension with those hips and everything swinging above you. So you need to be strong in that position. Now we're going to take that same kick, but instead of finishing back into your ginga position or your split stance position, I'm going to get my athlete here to cross the leg and pivot around in what's commonly called in capoeira passage, so almost an esquiva, a dodging of another attack. But here, just for the basics of biomechanics, instead of finishing back, he's going to cross his leg and finish in this position here, just twisting a little bit. The twist doesn't matter, but it's just to finish his legs crossing. So if we're here, we normally finish here. I'm going to ask my athlete to finish here, but still start here. All right, let's see what that looks like. Let's see what we mean by all this. There we go, other side. Good, so as you can see, challenges the balance, right? It's not easy to do. Let's try that again, both sides. Excellent, Shiri. Totally redeemed, totally redeemed. So the idea here, when we're really doing the acrobatic movement, the Raize, we're not spinning and crossing like that. It'll be kind of distorted, but what I want you to get used to is that spinning motion, because as you're gonna be throwing your leg, that leg is not gonna contact the ground for a little while, and you're gonna be pushing off your arms, or your hands, I should say. So this is a nice little progression where you are pushing off your arms and you are controlling until you hit that target, which is crossed a little bit behind you. So the idea in the Raize is you are going to finish, your foot is going to finish here, but you're going to be facing the other position. So you're not going to cross here, and you're not going to finish to the side either. That's going to be important. You start here, you're going to throw your kick, and you're going to finish in this position here. Very important details. All right, now we're going to advance to some more risky business, if you will. We're going to try work on the landing, which is going to be similar to the stuff that we did for the água de frente. Please, guys, I'm saying it again, don't just start with what we're going to be showing you. Do the progression of the bridge and of the água de frente before you do the next set of little challenges that we're going to give you, because this is a little bit riskier. We're not talking about loading the quads like we did on the previous videos, because we're assuming that you guys are going to check that out before jumping into this. So I'm going to get my athlete here into a bananeira position. You can stack up a bunch of mats like this, have someone secure them for obvious reasons to protect your athlete. And the idea here is to get the partner used to landing in this case, we're going to start both feet in a bridge position. Things are going to come crashing in pretty quickly, so please be careful. Extend your elbows and push hard against your arms, and really make sure that you've done the mobility drills before that we saw previously before doing this, right? This is not a beginner position. I can't stress that enough. Chigri's going to go into a bananeira position and let himself fall. And you can get accustomed like this. So he kind of, this is not the drill that we were preparing for. He rolled out of it, right? So that would be your way to kind of protect yourself from it. Ideally, we want the feet to land, so we're going to curve the back. Let's see if we can do it here. There you go. Awesome, Chigri. Really good job. Let's see that again, shall we? Nice. There you go. We get a little bit more comfortable, so you can see why we would want you to warm up with the bridging progressions beforehand. Okay, so Chigri's going to do the same thing now. And this should be a little bit easier on the fall, but technically a little bit harder. I'm going to get him to fall one leg at a time. That split leg in the top position is going to be important because we're landing one leg at a time. Now, one of the main reasons where I lift this up here is that when your athlete is going to land, he or she is not going to land on the ground into that bridge position. That's not the Raize, and that's not the água de frente. Because the power that you're going to muster, you're going to be pushing off your arms while you're landing on your feet. So that's why I want to elevate this, because it takes that component of pushing off the hands. Right here, I'm taking the arm push out of the equation, but I'm not exaggerating, having my athletes exaggerate the fall into the depth of the ground. So that's the reason why we elevate it, because that's actually the angle at which we're going to land due to the arms coming off from the ground and the foot contacting the ground as the hands are already elevated. So Chigri's again progressing here, and he's going to try to land one leg at a time, split position. Much softer here, which is the point. The idea is to teach your athlete that one leg at a time is a much easier way to land in a more controlled state. So we're going to do that again, the other side if we can. to balance things up. A little bit more rough, but that's always going to be the case with one side. The challenge is to have that split position in the air. Good job, Chigri. Okay. Here we are, gang. So now we're going to put things together. Chigri's going to attempt to do the Raize, and he's going to attempt what we see often beginners do. Very similar to a lot of the last acrobatics that we spent time to. He's going to bail out of it as if it's not working. So he's going to throw his legs above him, one leg at a time, and land. But he's going to show the, not the bad landing, but what we should do when we're first starting off, and that is to land in our full deep squat position, right? Hence, again, the importance to really work that fundamental position, because we are using it so much in our landings, not in the real acrobatic movements, but when we're learning the acrobatic movements, we're often falling there. So a lot of pressure on our hips, our knees, and our ankles. Make sure to own that position first. So let's see how we would progress. There we go. We see that Chigri is throwing the legs not to the side. One leg, that kicking leg, goes first above him, just like an Aouji French. It's the same thing. And then he pushes with his hands and tries to bail in a deep squat position as best as he can, or our athletes will land on their hips, but if the knees are bent, it'll just make the landing a little bit softer. So let's see the other side. Same thing. Notice that Chigri's pushing a lot with his arms. Hence, we're practicing on a mat before we move further, right? It's very important. We're not leaving the hands there because that will be too much stress on our back. I know there's a lot of people that have that mobility in the back, but for most of us, it's good to use that strong, straight arm push. Let's see that again, please. Landing, bailing. Excellent. Right, so a little bit rocky, but if you work those progressions, you should be good to land. And now all you're doing is you're grinding this movement until you're landing into that position that we worked with the Aouji French. Single leg, extending the hips. So now Chigri's going to progress to the real full Raize. Let's see what we got here. Good, very good. All right, and if we don't have it, like you saw, we bail out of it. Let's see that good side one more time, Chigri, please. Nice. Observe that, all those little technical details. We're layering things a lot here. This is not our first little cartwheel. There's a lot of things going on. So I hope you appreciated our walkthrough through the Raize. Remember, I said this again, I'm going to say it more and more. Don't start with this. Make sure that you progress through the other movements. We're talking about bridging. We're talking about Aouji French, but don't forget, like, just make sure that you master your cartwheel. Make sure that you master a lot of your progressive exercises in terms of shoulder mobility, hip mobility, ankle mobility as well. Strength through the core before you jump and you try this out so that you can try it and crash and crash and crash without injuring yourself, because you have the joints that can sustain it through the strength and mobility that you worked. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed this series of videos of our little kind of capoeira acrobatic progression. And if you have any questions, comments, or if you want to see more things, let us know what you want to see. We are going to be working on other things as well to show you guys very shortly, but any idea can help us to see what you guys want and how we can help you guys. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next season.